everyone. Thank you for tuning in to our Clinical Psychology PhD Application Admission and Beyond presentation. Today, I'm going to share a little bit about our program, the application process, and what life would look like if you are accepted to the program. We also have Ms. Brittany Riley from the Office of Graduate Studies here to ask some burning questions that prospective students typically have about this program and the application process. Brittany, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi there, like she said, I'm Brittany Riley, Director of Graduate Admissions here at UT Tyler. I've been with the school for a while now and have been in graduate admissions for quite some time, so I'm really familiar with some of the worries or motivations or concerns, all of the above that students have. So hopefully I can help get that information out there for you guys and make you feel more confident in the application process.
Thanks, Brittany. So my name is Christy Allen. I'm the Graduate Admissions Advisor for the Department of Psychology and Counseling. I was born and raised in Michigan, and I'm a proud graduate of UT Tyler's Clinical Mental Health Counseling Master's Program. I am super enthusiastic about recruiting high-quality students who seek to become helping professionals or academic researchers. I am usually extremely available to students. I am in the office currently Monday through Wednesdays from 8 to 5, but I'm always available via phone or email during the week. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'll share my contact information at the end again. So the program emphasis. Our clinical psych PhD program utilizes a scientist practitioner model. So that means we are hoping to develop highly qualified clinicians, people who practice as psychologists, and also those who contribute profoundly to the field of research in clinical psychology. So that means we're hoping to prepare students to become academics or professors or licensed psychologists. So we also designed this program to be responsive to both national and regional trends, mental health trends. So we have specific courses devoted to veterans and active duty military mental health, rural mental health, as well as serving the mental health of the geriatric population. We also utilize an apprenticeship model. Some people call it the mentor model. So students who apply to our PhD program in clinical psychology will be applying to work with a specific faculty member. I think that this is a really important piece that is sometimes overlooked by prospective applicants. Each year, our core clinical faculty members will be accepting students. There may be a year when one or more of our faculty are not accepting students, or one or more of our faculty are accepting more than one. But at this point, all 6 of our clinical faculty should be accepting students for the fall 2021 semester. And I've listed them out right here for you. So students will work under their faculty mentor to become skilled researchers and will spend most of their career, their educational career in this PhD program, crafting a specific program of research that will guide them in their professional work moving forward. So I'm going to touch on how to best indicate who your desired faculty mentor is a little bit later. Lots of people have questions about APA accreditation. It's a totally important question to ask when you're looking for doctoral level programs in clinical psychology. And so my answer is that of what a typical new program is. And that is, of course, we are seeking APA accreditation. We are in the process for applying for contingent APA accreditation. It can't be done until our first cohort of students is actually in practicum, but we have every bit of confidence that our pursuit will be successful. But of course, nothing is official until we receive that stamp of approval. So yes, our plan is for our first cohort of students to hopefully be graduating from an APA accredited program, and we have no reason to believe that that isn't going to happen. Okay, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of the application process and then get into some of the meat of it moving forward. So the first thing you'll want to do before you do any of these other pieces is apply through the graduate school. I have this link here. I will link this particular PowerPoint on the website as well, so you'll be able to easily access it. But it's a real quick and dirty application that you'll have to complete. There is a $50 application fee associated with this application. If you are a current UT Tyler student active in a program, you actually qualify for a fee waiver. So just reach out to me or Brittany with questions on how that works. We will also need all official transcripts from every university that you attended submitted to UT Tyler. If you are a current student of UT Tyler, don't have to worry about doing that. We already have your transcripts on hand. We also need your GRE scores, and I will make a comment about the GRE in a little bit. We need you to submit a department information sheet and statement of purpose. The department information sheet is really just prompting you for demographic information, and the statement of purpose is that essay, and we'll talk a little bit more about that moving forward. We also need 3 letters of recommendation, a background check, but that does not have to be completed until you've been admitted to the program. And then we choose a group of students who make it past that first round to interview. Our fall 2021 deadline is January 15th of 2021. So we have a little bit more than a month left until the application deadline. We anticipate our competitive applicants for our program to have a 3.0 or higher GPA. We're looking at your graduating GPA or your overall GPA, not the last 60 hours. We believe that students will have GRE verbal and quantitative total scores at the 50th percentile or above, but again, I will make another note about that moving forward. We want our applicants to have 12 or more hours in psychology. This is more of the non-negotiable piece of it. If you don't have any psychological background, it's very unlikely that you'd be able to jump and hit the ground running when it comes to developing solid research in clinical psychology. And then we want you to have previous research experience, and this is also kind of a non-negotiable. Our faculty are looking for students who are able to jump right in with them and start the process of developing their own theories and ideas for research projects. If you don't have any research experience, it's going to be really challenging for our faculty to see you as a good fit. Okay, so we're going to touch a little bit more on the statement of purpose. I'm going to read the prompt to you. This essay should be about 2 to 3 pages in length, no more than 3 pages though. That's when you start to lose people. We want you to state your purpose in applying to the clinical psychology PhD program at the University of Texas at Tyler. A strong statement of purpose will include, but is not limited to, relevant educational, personal, cultural, or social experiences that motivated you to pursue advanced studies in clinical psychology. Specific research areas of interest. It's important to identify how these interests align with the work being done by UT Tyler's clinical psychology faculty mentors. A thorough description of previous research and clinical experiences that contribute to your preparedness for this program. So, important note, the essay is where you need to clearly denote which faculty mentor or mentors your areas of interest best line up with. That should be the focal point of your statement of purpose. So who should you apply to work with? This is going to take some careful research and consideration on your part. You can find the faculty research bios and CVs available at this link here. It is okay to identify 1 or 2 faculty members that you're interested in working with, as long as you can make a really strong case that your research interests or experiences that you have in the past align with the work identified with what the faculty member does. Now remember, this particular link is going to take you to a full link of all of our faculty. There are only 6 clinical psychology faculty members in the department, and I have them listed a few slides behind. So make sure you're not requesting to work with one of our developmental psychologists or something like that, because only our 6 clinical faculty members are accepting students. Here's my little pro tip. You do not have to have an absolutely perfect research match with your identified faculty mentor in order for them to choose you, but they need to be able to read your essay and say, yes, with this student's experience and future research interests, and with my expertise in this area, that we'd make a really good team and I'd be able to help them moving forward. So that is what you need to make sure your essay conveys to them. Other points, I mentioned the page length, don't exceed 3 pages. Don't undercut it either. This is for a doctoral program application. We want you to put some effort into it. The faculty reviewers will be looking for both the content and the quality of writing. This is important to remember because you will be writing quite a bit in this program. The hope is that you become prolific researchers who develop manuscripts and get published and things like that. So this is your opportunity to show them that you are a strong writer. The statement of purpose for the PhD program should be research focused. Don't talk too much about, these profound life experiences that have paved the way to you becoming a helping professional. Those are great and important, and they will come out probably through your interview, but your statement of purpose really needs to be focused on research. If you have a CV that you'd like included in your application, we do not require it, but you can feel free to attach it to the end of your 3-page statement of purpose, and otherwise don't worry if your CV makes it over 3 pages, that's totally fine. That might help the potential faculty mentors that you have review any publications or presentations and things that you have. Might be able to list that out a little more clearly for them. So that's totally fine to do. And then last but not least, just don't overshare. You don't want to share anything in your essay that you wouldn't want every single one of the faculty member in the clinical psych department to know about you. Unlike the focus, for those of you who maybe pursued our Master's of Science in Clinical Psych, that essay asks you why UT Tyler and why do you want to become a helping professional. We really want to reiterate that the focus of this particular essay has to be research. Okay, letters of recommendation. We want all of your letters of recommendation to be academic in nature. In other words, somebody who has taught you in some higher educational capacity. This can be challenging for people who have been out of school for a very long time. I typically recommend, one, for students don't to just discount it because they've been out of school for a long time. See if you can reach out to any faculty member that did teach you and do your best to remind them of who you are. Remind them of a certain project you guys worked on together, or a paper you wrote together, or a paper you wrote for their class, or maybe you earned a very high grade in their particular class and you posited a new theory behind one of the papers that you read for the class. You'd be surprised how many people can remember somebody if given a little bit of context. If you absolutely cannot find all 3 of your references academic or make them all academic in nature, I recommend somebody who potentially has an academic credential comparable to what you're seeking. So maybe a licensed psychologist, if you've worked in a therapeutic setting with them, somebody who could speak to your ability to be a good student and to be successful in that type of doctoral work. Best practice in terms of requesting letters of reference, always ask them first. Don't assume that they're okay with doing it. We have a system where you actually just type in the name and contact information of those you wish to use as references. And there are definitely instances where students just type in the name and the email address and never ask them. And that's just not a good idea. Let them know what the deadline is. Again, it's January 15th, 2021. We need everything in by that day. Send the faculty member a copy of your CV or resume. Give them a little bit of context, help them out. in a non-bossy way. Try to guide them as to what you want them to emphasize in your letter. Did you do research with them? Did you work on a statistical analysis with them? Did they teach you in a specific class? Do they know your professionalism? So give them a little bit of help in writing that letter. And also follow up with them and offer gentle reminders. You know, just sending them a friendly reminder that the deadline is January 15th and everything is due by then, and that you really appreciate them writing that letter for you. Okay, I promised talking quickly about the GRE. We do have on our website that we expect our competitive applicants to be at the 50th percentile or above. However, we do a holistic review of applicants, meaning that no one part of the application file is more important than the other. So don't decide not to apply just because you think your GRE scores are low or they're not at the 50th percentile. We have accepted students below the 50th percentile before. If everything else in your application packet shines and stands out, that'll bode very well for you. So please don't let the GRE be the one reason you don't apply. Okay, so you submitted your application. Now what do you do? So like I said, all application materials are due by January the 15th. This is a hard deadline. We will not be accepting things January 16th or 17th or 18th. We have to have a cutoff point where we stop accepting documents. Faculty will review over the next 3 weeks, and then we will choose a group of students to interview. I think last year we interviewed about 12 students and we picked 6. So we anticipate the Zoom interviews to be done in mid to late February, and you'll be notified no matter what. Offers will be made by our faculty mentors. So the actual faculty member will reach out to you and say, hey, I've chosen you, I want to work with you. And they'll do this by April the 1st. This offer will include a full disclosure of the financial assistance provided to students. So you will have that information before you have to make your decision, you know, if you're considering other programs as well. Students will be expected to accept or deny their offers of admission by April the 15th. And here is a breakdown of the expected financial assistance. This is the aid that we provided to the fall 2020 cohort. It totals out to about $24,600 for the calendar year. You are guaranteed an assistantship, which comes in the form of a research or teaching assistantship. There is a $2,000 scholarship that will be provided to students. And then we, of course, have the 50% tuition waiver for students. So this is kind of what you're looking at here. I will include the link to the estimated total cost of attendance for doctoral students as well. Another commonly asked question is transfer credit, because we have several students who are interested, who are currently in our Master's of Clinical Psychology program that want to apply to the doctoral program, and they want to know what, if any, of their credit is going to count towards this degree. So students who enter with a master's degree in clinical psychology or clinical mental health counseling from UT Tyler can apply up to 27 hours towards the doctoral program as approved by your faculty mentor and the director of clinical training. These classes directly equate to the ones listed below. So I have that there for students' reference. And students with graduate credit or degrees from other university can transfer for up to 15 hours of coursework of the classes listed below. We have forms that you have to fill out, especially if you are requesting credit from other universities to be transferred to UT Tyler, where you do have to, you know, attach syllabi, list learning objectives, and we have to really verify that what you learned at this other school equates to what we teach in our classes here. But that's typically pretty important to students. I do also want to mention that this is a cohort model program. So you are admitted with a group of students and you're expected to matriculate throughout the program with them. Now, some of you may be admitted from UT Tyler and some of you may not. I mentioned this just to say that the 27 hours, even if you transferred in with 27 hours, it's unlikely that it's going to cut down more than a full calendar year of work. only because you're expected to start and finish with the people who are admitted with you. So this is a very small print of our degree plan. It is a 5-year program. There's a thesis and dissertation required. The thesis can be transferred in. That was two of the classes. The thesis 1 and 2 were listed on that transferable credit form. Summers are lighter to make time for research, and the doctoral program requires that you complete a 1-year pre-doctoral internship in clinical psychology. The internship is intended to provide opportunities for your development as a scientist/practitioner. It'll occur at that last year and should be well matched to your career goals. And that's something that our faculty will take into deep consideration as making sure that they do everything they can to match you with an appropriate site. Also, in general, I like to mention that the independent practice of psychology does require a state-issued license. So students are encouraged to review the requirements for licensure as early as possible if you intend to live in another state, to make sure that you're familiar with what's required for them. Upon completion of our clinical psychology PhD program, students will be eligible to sit for licensure exams in the state of Texas and work in a variety of different academic, medical, and clinical settings. Okay, so this is what nobody wants to talk about, but what happens if you don't get in? One, you can apply again. We've had students successful who maybe applied 1 year, did not get in, and applied the 2nd year and were able to get in. And a lot of this has to do with match, right? So it has to do with what you're interested in and what the faculty are currently working on. How does that align with one another? You're applying to work with a faculty member. Also, this is for those who do not already have a master's degree. If you do not get accepted to the PhD program, you can be considered for our clinical psychology master's program. We have an excellent master's level program in clinical psychology, and exciting news, the state of Texas allows one to practice independently as a licensed psychological associate in the state of Texas. So if your end career goal is to be a therapist, you do not need to get a PhD to begin with. You just need that master's degree, and you just need to sit for that licensure exam. So I'm going to give a little quick rundown of what the clinical psych master's program is. It's a 60 credit hour program. It'll take you 2.5 years to complete. Again, it provides you with all the experiential and academic learning necessary to sit for the licensed psychological associate licensure exam. This is the degree plan here. You have the option to pursue a neuropsych specialization, meaning that you'll take a course sequence that is focused on neuropsychological assessment, and one of your practicum experiences will be neuropsych assessment focused. In terms of the application, so if you submit everything you need for the doctoral program, we will use those documents to consider you for the master's level program. The one difference here that I highlighted is we actually do require a background check for the application for admission. So if you do not get admitted to the doctoral program and you do want to be considered for the master's program, I'm going to ask you to complete that background check as soon as possible, as soon as you know you're not admitted to the doctoral program. Students sometimes choose, we won't make you redo your statement of purpose, but you're more than welcome to, because the clinical psych masters is a little bit more focused on not becoming academic researchers and instead becoming a helping professional. So if you wanted to redo your essay to focus more on that, you can. We use a GPA and GRE scale. So we do require the GRE for the master's program in clinical psych as well. And we're just looking for a minimum of 5 points to be admissible to the program. We admit every fall and spring semester. We have an October 15th deadline for spring and a March 15th deadline for fall. And instead of the 6 students we admit for the doctoral program, we admit 20 to 30 students per cohort. And we utilize a wait list. So I say this to say that don't be discouraged if you don't get admitted to the doctoral program. There's still opportunities here at UT Tyler for you. And it could perhaps prepare you to gain more research experience with the faculty members that you wish to work with in the future. And maybe the doctoral program just happens down the line for you. Okay, so Brittany, do you have any questions for me?
Yes, I was writing them down as we went, and then you would cover what I had a question about, and I would scratch that off. So I think you really took on some of the biggest questions that we get asked. Well, how do I know who I'm going to research with? What about the GRE? What if I don't have a recommender who's an academic reference? What am I supposed to do? A couple little things I also was curious about, and we've been asked about before for the admission criteria, are the prerequisites. Those hard prerequisites that are sort of non-negotiable for the PhD program, those have to be completed in advance of applying, correct?
So yes, the only one we make an exception for is the history and systems of psychology, because that particular course has become less prevalent at universities and APA actually requires it. So if you've not completed history and systems of psychology, we will allow you to take it during your time here at UT Tyler. Yes.
Okay.
But other than that, we do want you to have abnormal psychology, research methods, psychological statistics, intro to psychology. Yeah.
And then the research that you're looking, that the faculty are looking for from a student, a prospective student, that would be not necessarily a publication, but maybe a paper that they did in their bachelor's degree.
Absolutely. It doesn't necessarily have to result in a publication or a presentation or something like that. Not all research projects do, you know. What you'll have to be able to do is talk about all the many hats you wear or that you wore during that research experience. So did you do the data analyses? Did you do the statistical analyses? Did you do manuscript preparation? Did you work on editing? What part of the research process were you a part of? And how can you show or prove to your faculty mentor that you're prepared to help them in that same way as well as other ways moving forward? So yeah, just like when you apply for a job or interview for a job, there are ways to frame your experiences to be applicable to what they're looking for. I just definitely wanted to take this opportunity to do this presentation and share with students or prospective students how important it is to focus that essay on research and focus on what parts of the research process you've been a part of so that the faculty can envision themselves working with these students.
So this next question is kind of related, but a different side of things, and it may be difficult to answer. I've been asked this for other programs before, and honestly, it really depends on the individual. But if you could give us an idea of what the time commitment for a program like this is. People have families or jobs, or can they have a job while in this program? What does it look like?
That is such a good question, and I should have included that on my slides. So the expectation that our administration and faculty have for students admitted to this program is for this to be comparable to a full-time job. So students are actually required to sign a document that says that they will not accept any outside employment during their time in the program, which is a huge commitment. We realize that. Our active students in the program, and we'll have one that's joining us on Friday, which I'm really excited about, who has a family and has a life outside of school too, people that she is responsible for. But yes, so it is a huge commitment, but we do have students who have made it work with the cost of living stipend, that $17,000 a year, where you'll be working for that as a research assistantship or as a research assistant or a graduate assistant for one of the classes that your faculty member teaches. Some of our students this semester are starting to teach our undergraduate psychology classes. They'll be in their second year, the end of their second year. and they'll be doing that as well. So that's an option for students. But yes, so it is a big time commitment. We'll have to ask the active student how much time she hypothesizes that she spends each week, but I can tell you in terms of employment, there would be no way to hold another job and do this program at the same time. It is a traditional residential doctoral program.
Perfect. That's really all the questions that I had. I mean, I had more, but you really answered the primary ones that I could think of. So do you want to tell us a little bit about that next webinar, the next meeting?
Yes. Okay. So tomorrow I will be accompanying Dr. Sarah Sass and Dr. Dennis Combs. Dr. Sarah Sass is one of our core clinical faculty members. She's also oversees the Masters of Science in Clinical Psychology program and does the admissions for that program. So she's a good person to chat with about that. And Dr. Dennis Combs is the director of clinical training for the doctoral program. So two great faculty members who will be there to answer questions that students may have, whether it be about their research or whether it be about other tips and tricks that maybe I didn't mention in terms of applying for the program. Yep, so that's at 6:30 tomorrow evening. Hopefully you can join us.
I don't have any other questions, Christy, so.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Brittany.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.